Hello and welcome to another episode of the Crimson Podcast. I'm Jack Martin, joined by Ben Balian. We have two very special guests today, Mr. Mahlik and Casey Hoeckele, the coach and player of the boys baseball team. Ready to get started? How you guys doing?
Good. Doing well. Thanks for having us.
All right, let's jump right into it. You guys are 12-8 at this point. It's been some ups, some downs. A really good winning streak a couple weeks ago. Let's just get an overview of the season from your guys' point. What's been going on in the locker room, in the clubhouse that you might not see from the outside?
Can you take this one? During that win streak, everyone was just having a great time, and I think that's when we played best, was when we're free and just having fun. And I think during that stretch of 6 games, we were just playing the best baseball and also having the most fun, which I think was the reason for our success.
Yeah, I mean, digging into it, we had really good starting pitching across that 6-game streak. Lot of offense, which we struggled with the past 2 games. But giving our guys a couple run support and then letting them do the rest. Casey had a couple great outings. Tice had a great outing at Elizabeth. And then just picking each other up. It seems like, again, like Casey said, we got a close group of guys. And having fun, playing loose. So hopefully we can get back to that as we head into states.
Yeah, speaking of that strong starting pitching, Casey a few days ago threw a no-hitter against Warren Hills. Could you just talk a little bit, not only about what that experience was like, but the game plan going in and knowing how to execute?
So going in, this was our first time playing them, so I didn't really know much, and I hadn't pitched against them in the past couple of years. So I was going in kind of blind, but warm-ups, everything felt great. As soon as I stepped on the mound, I just knew it was going to be one of those days where I was just going to be great. And then we just so happened to play great defense behind me and then hit the ball too, and I just had the most confidence I could, so everything was just perfect that day.
Nice. And could you speak a little bit to how successful he was on the mound?
Yeah, no, he did a great job. Anytime you strike out 15 guys out of 21 outs is pretty good. He got ahead on guys. Fastball was dominant. They really couldn't catch up, and then obviously using the off speed as well. Like you said, we had a couple great plays. Sean Archley had a nice diving catch, and then we found a way to add a couple insurance runs. We got up early 2-0, and then we found a way, I believe, to make it 5-0, and that was more than enough for Casey to get the job done.
Yeah, besides Casey and a couple other seniors, that's really all for the older guys. It's a big younger influence team. There's a lot of freshmen and sophomores that are making an impact. Can you speak to how important that's been for some of the success of this team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime that we got to throw some younger guys in, give them opportunities, it's going to be a big learning curve. Having these guys in the middle school, seeing the pitching that you get down there, just the overall level of competition coming up to the high school, and facing a guy like Casey, or other arms who are throwing high velo, good off speed. It's going to be a learning curve, and that's part of the experience for them. Asking them to step up. But, we as coaches and, players have confidence in them to get the job done. They're doing a great job, and we think everything that they've gone through is going to really help, have that experience, come May 27th when we're hopefully starting a big run for states.
Phil, you were the coach of the middle school team for a couple years before transitioning up here to the high school. What did you do to get these guys ready in the middle school for facing pitchers like Casey or other guys you talk about?
Yeah, I always say, offensively, we play within a system, right? So, being able to execute, being able to situationally hit, is some of the most important stuff that I can try and teach, especially at a young age. Getting a guy over with nobody out, finding a way to get a guy in, taking an extra base, all that stuff really matters. We've done a pretty good job when asked to bunt, right, to move guys over. So that really is important, especially when we have the pitching that we have. It makes it so much easier if we can keep the score down and get a couple on the board. So I feel like that's something that I've really tried to harp on. We need to keep doing a good job of it and continue to get better. But I would say the situational aspect of it is really something that, myself and the coaching staff understand the importance of.
So last year, obviously, Coach Falzerano retired, and you came along and you brought in a new coaching staff. To both of you, what has that impact been?
It's been totally different. It was something we all had to get used to, just more of a serious kind of go at it. But at the same time, it feels like we're more, I don't even know how to say it, we were able to play, like, practice was more, like, free for us with Coach Fowles. With now we have, like, a strict, like, schedule every day, like, what to do when, and then, like, also, like, our attitude has to be a lot better now with Coach Phil and all the other new coaches, because they're not, like, they don't let it, like, all, like, the funny business slide as much Coach Fowles. But at the same time, that's a good thing, because there's times to be serious, and then there's also times to mess around.
Yeah, I mean, it was a learning curve, right? Like, a couple guys got thrown out here and there, for being late, like all that little stuff. Like our job is to try and get them to understand that it really matters. And they've been very receptive. Like, going back to that winning streak, like everything was better, and that the reasons we were winning, we hit well and we pitched well, but the reasons were because practice was better. Like it was the attention to detail, it was the focus, it was the effort, it was the energy, the intent. Of just getting better every single day. So I commend them for, buying in and responding. Again, it did take a little time. But as Casey said, I feel like everyone has figured it out and understands that this is a standard, and they've done a great job.
Yeah, and then one more question for you guys. What is the final goal for this year? Is it to win a state playoff, bring a sectional title back to Bernard's since you did it back in 2015, or what is the goal?
I think that is the goal for us, obviously, to win the sectional title. But I mean, if not that, then just like a really good run, and spend the last couple of months with all like my teammates and have the best time that we can, and hopefully make it as far as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our goal is always going to be to end the season with a championship. We have the pieces to do it. We have the pitching to do it. And we're just going to have to manufacture enough runs, keep the score down, play good defense, and hopefully we're coming on here again talking about what a run it was.
And real quick before we move on, I just want to talk about, because yesterday was the Bryce Rosen game, and I just kind of want to ask you guys, like, what impact does he have on the program and the legacy that he left?
I kind of grew up playing with Bryce a little bit over at Kiwanis, and just like his love for baseball just makes us want to play even harder and win more games. And every time we have that game, we know that we're playing for something bigger than just ourselves. And just his love for baseball just makes us just so much more into it. And to see that he never got to step foot in the high school, and we have this chance to play high school baseball with everyone, it gives us way more passion to play and win.
Yeah, I mean, in talking with his family, talking with Coach Fowles, I know that they instrumented this a couple of years ago, but the family was so appreciative, and like Casey said, like the impact that he had on the high school, on these players, and never actually stepping foot in the high school really shows the type of kid he was, his enthusiasm, his passion for the game. So it really means a lot that we have the opportunity to celebrate him, and play for something bigger than just the game of baseball, especially on that day.
Yeah, all right. So moving on, right? We've done this new segment this year called the Crimson Crew Rapid Fire Questions. So we got a few rapid fire questions for you guys. Answer as quick as possible. Variety of topics, could be on anything. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. Specifically for Casey, favorite pitch to strike someone out on?
Fastball.
Would you rather hit for the cycle or throw a no-hitter?
Hit for the cycle.
Hit for the cycle.
Nice. Favorite food?
Chicken.
Steak.
Favorite music?
Country.
Country.
Nice. If you have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Super speed. Get anywhere as quick as possible.
Flying, because flying is just the best.
A hobby outside of baseball?
Ooh. Definitely not golf for me. Horrible.
Golf or basketball?
Yeah.
Walking my dog.
Nice. And our last one, if you could have one person that you could have a dinner with, anyone, could be dead or alive, who would it be and why?
One person?
One person.
Mike Tyson.
Nice.
I just want to know what goes on in his head, kind of.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm gonna say Coach P.
Coach P.
Coach P. Everyone loves Coach P. He's the man. I would love to have dinner with Coach P.
Nice. All right. Well, that'll about do it for this episode of the Crimson Podcast. I've been Jack Martin, joined by Ben Balian, Casey Hoeckele, and Coach Mahlik. Thank you so much for coming on.
course.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll see you next time.